we're in a tiny little nook and cranny of the world in Berkshire County in North Adams, Massachusetts, kind of in the middle of nowhere.
My name is Presley Field. I was born in HRHS. Nobody knew, and I was a long way away from anyone who could hurt me.
He was fighting and gasping for air, fighting to be alive with every ounce of him.
He's just laying there, and he's retracting. He's like seesaw breathing. He's the worst color I've ever seen.
The pediatrician told us that we've ruled out heart problems. It can't be heart because he wouldn't be able to keep himself alive right now. So we have him on an IV for antibiotics. And I said, what's plan B? I'll never forget the pediatrician said, there is no plan B. Eventually he'll tire out. I said, well, that's not acceptable. The cardiologist at the time came to me, and I'll never forget it. She gave me a pamphlet, all these horrible things, every possible extrapolation to a bad outcome possible. And then also kind of an attitude, some people choose to, let them go. These kids are all opportunities for the world to learn. That's what they are. And people are just way too quick to give up on life.
Presley had been stabilized during the transport to Boston Children's, but certainly was in a condition that could have deteriorated very quickly. We knew that he was going to need an intervention to stabilize his circulation, but we had to get him well enough to be able to tolerate that procedure.
We got to Boston. I felt peace. I knew how sick he was, but they were like, we're going to do everything we can to get him healthy enough to get him to have the surgery.
So it was about on day 4, and Dr. Emani said he had like a 5-day window, and pressed his eyes open, and his organs started to function.
This is my scar from my surgery when I was 5 days old.
When he was 4 years old, we did have to make a decision.
The traditional management of hypoplastic left heart syndrome is the Fontan procedure, where the right ventricle does all the work for the body, and the left ventricle is just sort of put off to the side and asked to sit idle.
As Fontan patients get older, there are increasing problems with their liver function, we worry about clots, we worry about strokes, arrhythmias, where the heart beats too fast, too slow.
The magic of Boston Children's and Dr. Emani, when you're at the end of the road where other hospitals or other doctors stop there, that's where he starts.
We talked about a new procedure that I had been developing to use the left ventricle as a pulmonary ventricle, that is, as a ventricle that pumps to the lungs, and use the right ventricle as a ventricle that pumps to the body, a reverse double switch operation.
He was one of the first people that Dr. Emani offered this alternative pathway to the Fontan operation.
We were really going out on a limb to try something new with the hopes that this would give him a better long-term outcome.
We were prepared for, kind of maybe a rough recovery, right? You have kids at home too. And what do you say to them? It's not like, hey, everything's gonna be fine. You have to be honest. He's gonna have a big surgery, and we may not be home for a long time. Are you gonna give that a hug?
Thank you so much.
You see that? That's what your heart looked like when you were little. You see how it looks like it has some stitches in it? That's because we did surgery on it.
He flew through recovery. I think even Dr. Emani was surprised, 7 days later, that he can go home.
Presley's doing great. It probably shouldn't have surprised me. He's such a strong kid. I just can't wait to see him thrive and do great things in life.
The siblings, when he gets home, they're very motherly, you know, the two girls, and Joshua, he's worried.
Yeah.
And they're all, that's when they get along real good, you know, when he first comes home.
This is so much better. You know, he's paving the path. He's the pioneer. He's the one that's showing us the way. Now it's opened up the door for other kids.
He loves his life.
Yeah.
I mean, he loves his life that he fought for, and only has because Boston Children's and Dr. Emani would fight with him.
He gave him a chance.
Thank you for helping Boston Children's.